Hey, welcome to It Came From GenX. I am your host, Keith Porter, along with your other hosts, Michael Skinner and Brian Fisher. And I really hate these guys. Just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, we were just getting some of Keith's updates of his new dating experiences here. Renewed single again. So, yeah, it's pretty good. We'll have to put that maybe
Yes.
that's another mini-sode, Keith, perhaps. We'll do
I
the
think
get
it
off our
might be.
lawn.
That is definitely a get off our lawn segment, I think.
We'll just do
We'll have to do
a
something
separate
about
one
that.
entirely. Separate one
Okay.
entirely. Like,
Well, that'll work.
yeah,
Well,
get on my lawn.
we
By
won't do
Keith,
that
something
tonight,
like
that's
that.
for sure. So
Yeah.
those of you listening, don't get scared. And thank you for joining us here in a close to mid-August edition of It Came From Gen X, the show about life through the eyes of Generation X and the dichotomy and differences between us and maybe Gen Zs, millennials, even baby boomers. And we hope you have a laugh, but you also hope you learn something and agree with us, disagree with us. But we hope you enjoy the show. To tell you where you can find us, Brian Fisher.
All right, guys. So you might be listening to us on WMVU.org, Global Internet Radio, Mondays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Just pull up the site, click on the live streaming, and a recording of this show will be there for you every Monday. We also want to add there, too, by the way, Christophus Dominic, who's our partner at WMVU, had a very nice write-up in the local publication called The Devil Script. Devilscript.com. It's like a local Akron, Ohio publication talking about what's going on in the city and different all that. He had a very nice article about WMVU and all the work he's done to put things together. So check that out as well. We did save that on our Facebook page, which is at It Came From GenX. You can also find that on the devilscript.com about Christophus. So,
well, I'm not giving him no shout outs. I'm not giving no more shout outs, man.
Yep.
After Skinner's girl, Marcy, ripping to shreds, no more shout outs. Junior, the only one appreciate me.
She was concerned you sounded like you were sick. That's all.
Yeah, that's not how it was put. Apparently, we have some mic problems with my audio, and thanks to Mike Skinner Jr. for getting that fixed. So appreciate you, my friend. You're the only one that appreciates me.
That's true.
Were you done, Fish?
That's true. No. So email the show at it came from GenX 330 at gmail.com. As I already mentioned, Facebook at It Came From GenX. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and you may find links to all these things. We still have our Linktree account, so you can search Linktree. It Came From GenX. And we have a new website out there that we just launched. That's we're still working through it, but you may find us on our website. It Came From GenX, all one word, .wordpress, WORD, press, one word, .com. Search us there. All the links to all the show information I just mentioned are also all there on our website. We're also putting pages with. We're starting to add links to our podcast, our videos. If you don't wish to go directly to our podcast platforms or YouTube channel, you can go right to the website. It came from genx.wordpress.com. Check us out. If you listen to us on podcast, give us a like and subscribe. Rate the show on Apple. Appreciate it. And share, if you like our stuff at all, share with a friend. Ask them to check us out when they have some time. We appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
And if you don't like us, share with an enemy. That'll teach them. Yeah, that'll fix them.
That's right.
All right. Also, our other host in healing, my man Mike Skinner. What's going on, brother?
Oh, yeah. I was telling Fish before you even got into the pre-production, working with our number 4 Musketeer, our other best friend of our group, John
Mr.
Cooper.
Sabbatical.
Mr. Sabbatical. I was over there on Saturday with him and his lovely wife, Amy, running him around with the pickup truck, grabbing supplies and wood and countertops and all this stuff. And then I overdid it, but got a lot done here at my house along with his house, and spent the afternoon yesterday. My aunt's in town from North Carolina, so we had a little family get together there. So good weekend. Just paying for it today, but glad to be here with you fellas. And yeah, we certainly miss Mr. Cooper on the show. He certainly brings a perspective that none of the three of us can actually
Right. But if
can
people
do.
saw what he was doing, they'd understand why. So,
That's right. That's right.
so someday when this project's done in 2027, we'll have you
Right.
back. All right. Well, let's get this show on the road, fellas. Been an interesting week. Different things going on. Some good. Well, let's start off with some sports then. Since you said pass the baton, the Olympics have come to a close. Not all the news out of Tokyo was good news. I believe they were in the 430 count with COVID cases.
Yeah, I sent that story to you guys over the weekend, I think.
Yeah, that's quite alarming. I hope these people are all, didn't get out and infect others. That's a high number. That's a high number to come out of one area like that. So, especially from people from diverse areas. So we'll keep. I know you'll keep track of that, Skinner. See if anything comes of that.
Right.
But let's lighten it up a little bit. Let's just talk about the Olympics in itself. The USA edged China in the last day or so in gold medal counts actually. I believe by one. If I'm not mistaken, 39-38.
Gold medal counts. You're right.
It's gold medal
count.
It was gold
USA
medal
had
counts.
most total medals, but they edged out China gold medals by one.
Yeah, the gold medal counts by one, which was a tremendous feat. China, I thought, had a tremendous year in the Olympics in areas that you don't see very often. They were tremendous in track this year. Gosh, I don't know how to say this without this coming out right, but they're not known for long legs. And just to see them, some of their track stars excel was pretty cool. But the two teams
I gotta mention, did you guys see that 14-year-old diver who got perfect tens?
No, I didn't see that.
I think she was in a platform diver. She's just turned 14 years old. And her last couple rounds, she had perfect tens for scores. I mean, this young lady was incredible. I don't know if you guys are big into the diving scene.
Oh, I'm big into all of it.
But yeah, she was 14 I don't remember what her name was, but 14 years old, just turned 14. And her 13-year-old teammate took the silver in that
From what
particular
country?
Event. From China.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's excellent.
So, yeah, it was pretty incrable. I don't mean
I have to catch that. I missed it. I got a lot of recorded. I got to catch up on. Yeah. I love the Olympics. All the events. I think it's tremendous. I mean, you learn what's good. What's quality and what isn't. But two of the teams that I want to point out or talk about. Number one, I want to give kudos to the women's volleyball team. They beat an excellent China team, which many thought that was not going to happen. And so just want to say congratulations to them. But I just want to talk about the men's basketball team. We brought them up a little while ago. Well, obviously they lost 2 exhibition games before the official Olympics started, and then they lost early to France. And that's when it all started. Now, we didn't put them down on this show, but we did ask, is it a lack of fundamentals? Is it because superstars like LeBron James, Steph Curry weren't playing? Is it because the rest of the world caught up? We asked all these different questions. And the USA took a lot of criticism from people all around the country, particularly. But they came back and they bounced back and they won. As a matter of fact, they beat France in the gold medal round pretty decisively. They were pretty, I don't know what the word I should say, but they knew they were criticized, and they let the world know, I guess in no uncertain terms, up yours after winning a gold medal. Now, here's where the controversy came in, and I say non-controversy, actually. Kevin Garnett and Draymond Green decided to celebrate by drinking some Los Lobos tequila, which is a brand partially owned by LeBron James, and supposedly was visibly drunk during the celebration. And the headline was Draymond Green and Kevin Durant were drunk during the celebration. That's what it was. Nothing about the gold medal, just that. A lot of people were highly upset. A lot of news people responded on Twitter with some really harsh snapbacks on that article. Tyler Conway said, someone at Fox saw black people having fun and decided this nonsense needs to stop. Lindsey Gibbs said, dying at the scare quotes around drunk. TheMidasTouch.com wrote, the radical right hates that Team USA won the most gold medals. And Rick Rosner wrote or tweeted, nobody tell Fox News about Rush Limbaugh's OxyContin problem. So a lot of people snap back. Guys, is this millennials acting without class, or is this a non-story? What do you think, Skinner?
Well, I hope it's a non-story. Certainly, those comments that were that you had mentioned. Not quite sure if they were directed towards the writer of that article.
Yes.
Okay. I'll give them props that they're snapping back at their own. I don't want to say kin, but their own people.
Your peers. Yeah.
The media today has gotten so far out of hand, whether their agendas are for the right or for the left. They're not doing stories anymore to inform people of facts. I'm not saying that every reporter, every media person is telling lies, but there's always an agenda. There's always, okay, well, we want to portray this in the story,
Absolutely.
not necessarily that in the story. So when I say that they were drunk, quote unquote, why were they drunk? First of all, is my question is they probably weren't drunk. They were probably overwhelmed.
No, they were blitzed.
They might be tipsy. Okay. But
no, they weren't tipsy. They were blitzed.
So overwhelmed with joy. They just got done winning a gold medal, for God's sakes.
So let me ask you the question, the elephant in the room here. Do you think if they were white, that would have even been mentioned? You think the quotes would have said so-and-so and so-and-so were celebrating instead of drunk?
When you first read it, I didn't get a black and white out of it. I got just those two particular individuals. They both happen to be black, so I guess that there's going to be those that.
So you don't think race has nothing to do with it?
I didn't get that, truthfully. Normally, okay. I would be the first to tell you, yeah, that was a race card statement. But I didn't get that. I didn't get that feel. I got the feel that they were being chastised for celebrating a gold medal. Oh, yeah. I forgot to say that they won a gold medal, so they're celebrating.
Right.
Is what I got out of it.
What do you think?
I think without Kevin Durant, they would have won maybe no medal, let alone a gold medal.
Without question.
So if the man wants to have some drinks post-game in the celebration, leave him alone. So
correct.
Does race have something to do with it? Maybe. I mean, it smells that way, certainly. But again, come on, guys. You know, like I said, there's plenty of athletes you see at plenty of celebrations after Super Bowls and World Series and all that. These guys are chugging champagne.
That's my point.
And whatever, and no one cares. They're having fun, and that's black and white players now, mind you. No one seems to say anything there. I don't know. It's just because it's the Olympics. Okay, could you have waited a little bit longer until you got off camera? Okay, whatever. But the same token,
so that's a good point right there. I was going to say this. Maybe because it's the Olympics, it has this air of, world class. You kind of don't do things behind cameras a little more. Maybe. But at the same time, without question, I believe race has a lot to do with it. It's the little things that maybe if you're white, you don't notice. But when you're black, you notice a lot. If you look at the cover of Sports Magazine, if they put LeBron James on there, they got let me start. If they put Tom Brady on there, they got Tom Brady in a $5,000 John Phillips suit. When they throw LeBron James on there, he's in his basketball uniform, he's covered in sweat, and he's growling, looking like an animal. And you watch these little things, and they put these images in your mind. I guarantee you, LeBron James has more money than Tom Brady. But that's the type of things that you see. I think they portrayed them as being drunk, which was totally unnecessary to use the word drunk.
Correct.
If you had a problem with them drinking, you don't. I was messing around when I was saying they were blitz, but you don't know the level of their. Did you give them a breathalyzer? You know what I'm saying? So how do you know they were drunk? So I think race had a lot to do with it. I also agree with the one quote that the liberal hating left is mad that they won the gold medal. It was too much easier to criticize them for losing those earlier games. But, because we watch every sports team in America win a championship, pouring champagne on top of each other's head, drinking out of bottles. Not in glasses, out of the bottles, like winos. So now all of a sudden, anyway, ridiculous story. And I agree with what Skinner said. Kudos to those who are also in the media, snap back at their peers for that. But that was a horrible headline.
There needs to be more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of accountability. Okay, guys. Not such great news. Bobby Bowden, legendary Bobby Bowden, who became let's say he cut his teeth pretty much. Florida State head coach has passed away, sadly, and apparently he's been sick for a little while, and he was 91 years old.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah, and all 6 of his children was by his side. What'd you say, Fish or Skinner?
That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You're gonna go out, man. That's awesome. He had suffered from pancreatic cancer. Just read a little bit here. Bobby Bowden, longtime Florida State football coach, who ranks 2nd all time in Division I wins, has died. He passed away peacefully early morning yesterday. All 6 of his children and his wife, Terry Bowden, who's also is into football. He was a wonderful husband and father who relied on strong Christian faith to provide the foundation for his life. Bobby Bowden was diagnosed with terminal medical condition in July. He did not disclose that condition at the time, even though later Terry Bowden had told reporters that it was pancreatic cancer. To quote Bobby Bowden, "I've always tried to serve God's purpose for my life, on and off the field, and I am prepared for what is to come." He had dignity in life and in death, to make such a quote. "My wife Ann and our family have been life's greatest blessing. I am at peace." Those were some of his last words. He had a bout of COVID last year, which he got right after coming out of a hospital for an infection in his leg. So, man, just a bad turn of events this last year. But this guy has an amazing career, 2nd in Division I wins. He was also
to
famous.
Joe Paul, right?
I believe so, yes. And he was also famous. If you ever hear the words, the name Bobby Bowden, you also hear the words wide right, due to the number of kicks in bowl games or big games that went wide right. He was famous for that. I love Bobby Bowden. I love to hear him talk. He was just a real deal, and he is going to be missed. Fisher?
Yeah, I remember him being a character, in just watching football through the 80s and all that. And he certainly built that program. I mean, that was in the, Miami Hurricanes at the time was probably the biggest football program in Florida at that time,
without
and certainly
question.
Florida. But he definitely built that program up to overtake those 2 schools there for quite a long time.
That's a good point. Real quick, what I love, one of the greatest, there's a lot of great eras in college football. So let's say that. But obviously, since we've been alive, the 70s was stupendous with we had the Ohio State coach,
Woody Hayes.
Woody Hayes, the great Woody Hayes, his rival with the team up north. That was a great era. Yeah. And of course, Notre Dame coming out of the 60s and whatnot. But in the 80s, I thought was one of the great college eras for the SEC. Florida State, Florida,
Miami.
and Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Just powerhouse football teams.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Bobby Bowden and who was that coach Florida? I can't think of his name right now. He went on to South Carolina. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, he also coached for Washington
Spurrier.
football team.
Spurrier. Steve Spurrier. Yeah,
Jimmy Johnson.
Man, what a great era. You think about all the NFL greats that came from those programs. But that was just a great era. Go ahead, Fish.
No, I was just saying, you're right. It's just definitely powerhouse. And between those three teams, you definitely had some Hall of Famers come out of that group as well. Between those three schools from that era, so absolutely, yeah.
What one word you think of when you think of those three teams back in that era? Speed, speed, speed.
That's right.
Changed the game. Man, did they acquire some speed? Skinner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bobby Bowden. He was the coach you hated to respect. Because his teams were so good. Being an avid Ohio State fan, even as a little kid for me, growing up in the 80s, you knew who Bobby Bowden was, and you knew what he stood for, and he's sorely missed. I'm really surprised that he was 91 years old. It just doesn't seem possible. Was it Terry that coached here at the University of Akron?
Yes.
That's what I thought it was Terry.
Mm-hmm.
So we had one of his kids here in our local area for the
He did great too. He won a game. Go ahead.
Yeah, right. Unfortunately, he had no tools to work with to try to resurrect Akron's football team, but he brought some excitement back as far as football here just by the name. So rest in peace, Bobby Bowden. You will be sorely missed.
Yeah, those rivals are underrated. Florida State, those games were huge back then.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like violent, huge. One image I always have of Bobby Bowden was, I can't think of his name, but the patrolman that walked him off the field every game. That was his guy. It was same. It was the same guy for years. I don't think he would let anybody else, but that guy watched his back and walked him off the field for every single football game, and particularly the Florida State games. Those were something else. The fans were violent. The state was split in half, and it was just a great time for college football. So he's going to be missed. Obviously, he's been off the scene for a while now, so he's already been missed. But just to know that he's gone, another legend to say goodbye to. Okay, guys. Last sports story, real quick. Biggest news of the weekend: NFL Hall of Fame. We had the Hall of Fame game Thursday. Not sure who won. Let me check my notes here.
Well, either team won.
Not sure who won.
Not the viewing audience. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. There may have been a score, but nobody actually won that game.
Yeah, that's for sure. But that's what it was, preseason.
And it don't matter. It really don't matter who was playing that game. I know why they do this particular game, but boy, you don't see anything. There's nothing to gauge.
It's a glorified evaluation game for the coaches. I was going to, I did want to see some of the newer players, but I also was going just to be amongst the Steeler Nation. It's been a while for me. Fortunately, I didn't make it, but I did make it to the enshrinement ceremony last night. Just want to say a good shout out to my dear friend, Annie Hammond, who got me the ticket. I hadn't seen her face to face in probably over 20 years. And that was just a great reunion, diehard Steelers fan. And we had an awesome time. It was a interesting time. I hate that I missed Saturday night, because Saturday night they gave the jackets to the guys who were inducted last year. But obviously there was no ceremony due to COVID. And of course, high on my list was Troy Polamalu. So technically there were 5 Steelers that went in this weekend. If you count the great Bill Nunn, who did unbelievable things for Black players back in the day. Tony Dungy was there, and Bill Nunn, Bill Cowher, Troy Polamalu, Alan Faneca, and Donnie Shell. who I can't believe Donnie Shell wasn't already in the Hall of Fame. Unbelievable. But a couple interesting things happened last night, guys. First of all, the speeches were outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the greatest ovation of the night, the place lost it when Peyton Manning came up. And as awesome as that was, I was told the night before, it didn't even compare to when Palomalu got up. It was straight, terrible towels everywhere. And I hate I missed that. But Peyton Manning and some of the others gave some of the funniest speeches of the night. Peyton Manning ripped former inductees for long-winded speeches. And I don't know if you guys caught that opener when he said, thanks to former inductees for the long-winded speeches. So we now all have 6 minutes to wrap up our entire NFL career.
He said Ray Lewis was still having it. He just finished his speech from 2018 or something like that.
Ray Lewis got inducted in 2018. He just wrapped his speech up.
And then, of course, good stuff.
The Tom Brady quote was awesome. Tom Brady was sitting down there in the front. And he goes, speaking of rivals, my good friend Tom Brady was here. And, of course, the Boo Birds came out everywhere. And, Tom's looking back like, what's that all about? And he goes, when Tom's eligible in his first year, in the year 2035.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
He'll have time to put his speech on Instagram.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was good stuff, man. Surprisingly, Tom Flores, former Raiders coach,
very good.
He was awesome. He was graceful. He was funny. It was just a great speech. He said, if you're wondering why, something, I can't remember what he said. I'm taking my time or something. He goes, I'm 84 flipping years old.
He's like, why am I going second? He's like, I'm 84 years old. I got to get to bed.
That was just great, man. His beautiful wife was there. She just looks amazing. And it was just a great night. Got to see Hines Ward there as a presenter. Megatron was there. His speech was so-so. It was pretty good. He was a classy guy. But it was a great night. But a couple of things that stood out for the night that you didn't see on TV. Number one, well, other than Colts jerseys everywhere, there was a group of Raider Nation there for Ron Woodson.
Yeah. Full costume, the whole bit.
Huh?
Yeah, the full costumes, the Raider Nation with the skulls and everything.
They were there in full force.
Spiked pads and everything.
One little group of them, you could just see it. It actually looked like a black hole in the middle of the crowd.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, it was really cool at first. And, nobody was hating on nobody. Nobody was booing anybody else's guy or team. And it was cool to see the Raider Nation there like they were. It was about football fans, not your teams.
Mm-hmm.
And until Alan Faneca started speaking, they were so rude. I mean, they literally just started having a party during his speech. And as far as I was away from them, it was like you were right next to them. You could hear them throughout the entire stadium. Really, really shameful. Now, that doesn't represent the entire Raider Nation. Let me make that clear. I'm not bad-mouthing the Raider Nation. I'm just talking about this group of people that were at the Hall of Fame last night. It was really, really shameful. And I really thought that it didn't do well for their group. It's like they just got live when he came up on the stage. I don't know if it was on purpose. I don't know why it would be, but that was really bad. The other thing is too, and I'm going to balance this, that when Peyton Manning got done speaking, and like I said, he was the biggest ovation of the night. A majority of the crowd was there to see him on Sunday. When he got done speaking, they were leaving by the thousands. It was crazy. Both exits, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds were leaving. And even my friend who I was with was like, wow, how rude is that? But I thought to myself, I said, well, let's think of it from their point of view. You don't know. First of all, it's Sunday night, not Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know how far some of these people have traveled. And even if they didn't travel far, it's Sunday night. A lot of people got to be up Monday for work. They came to support their guy. That was the best they could do. And they had probably was trying to beat the traffic. So those were the interesting things last night. Not much to talk about. I just kind of want to report what I saw. It was a great, peaceful, beautiful night. Got pretty close to Michael Irving and what's his name, quarterback Rams, the Cardinals, Kurt Warner.
Mm-hmm.
I was right there with them at the broadcast booth. That was exciting. And thanks you for the Canton police for driving me up and back in the police cart, because my knee was killing me. I want to thank them. They were so awesome to me. Usually it's handcuffs and pepper spray. And last night it was kindness and golf cart. So I want to thank the Canton Police Department. Any thoughts on the Hall of Fame, Bish?
Yeah, a lot of great speeches. I went back and watched. I haven't really watched them the last couple of years, frankly, but I just something compelled me. I went ahead and watched like virtually all the speeches on YouTube. You can also see them on the Hall of Fame website and stuff. Just a lot of great, kind of good stuff in their own way. And Fensenda, sorry. What's his name? He used to play for Pittsburgh. You just mentioned his name.
Alan
Faneca.
Yes.
Man, I gotta get up there. I'm like, who the hell is this guy?
He slimmed down
was terrific. He had a huge.
It was the first thing I said when he got up. I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, I thought it was some announcer or something like that. No, he was a player. And then it was nice for me being an old Cowboys fan to finally see Drew Pearson.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Well, I think he was literally the last member of the All-Decade team in the 70s. One of them, anyway, to make the Hall of Fame.
Like Donnie Shell should have been in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorites growing up. There was nothing like him, man.
Just to see his excitement and everything, that was pretty good. So a lot of great speeches. I like all the acknowledgments of people's families, and they talk about the hard work and everything. And some also good speeches on Saturday. Go back and check some of those out with Cowher and Jimmy Johnson.
I heard it was amazing.
Yeah. And the first bust, Keith, I believe, first one, perhaps the last one, where the hair of the player for Polamalu in the bust hangs below the bottom of the bust, which I thought was actually pretty cool.
Wasn't it?
He was known for his hair,
Right.
So I thought that was a nice touch. And someone look at that and say, I remember that guy. It was Troy Polamalu. If you had short hair on it or pulled back.
Drew Pearson said, I think I have the biggest afro on the bust ever.
That's true.
So that was awesome.
It is a big It's pretty sweet. Anyways, good stuff. It's a nice celebration here in Northeast Ohio, man. With that Canton, Ohio, it thrives. That's where pro football originated. If you guys out there don't know why they have it in Canton, it thrives every year on this event. It brings a lot of cash in the area, and they're really building up the area around it with hotels and different things.
Yeah,
so, without that event, it was it's a nice thing.
It would be a dead town without that. I said to my friend Annie, I said, with LeBron winning the championship with the Cavs, him being from here. With the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Canton, Northeast Ohio has a little notoriety for all these little things. Any thoughts, Skinner, on the Hall of Fame?
I didn't get to see much of it. Like I said, I've been pretty busy this weekend, but I'm going to try tomorrow if I can go and listen to some of the speeches.
I would advise you.
I did hear Troy Polamalu's and Peyton Manning's were the best of the weekend.
Yeah.
So I'll be
Peyton Manning, just to get his own comedy show. He was hysterical.
He's for being a good old boy from New Orleans. He's actually pretty funny with his dry humor. So
he was really fun.
I get a kick out of his Allstate commercials with Peytonville and
I
all
do
the
too.
things he's doing outside of football.
Yeah, I was just touched in the beginning to see his father. Inducting that's something special right there. You know what I'm saying? You don't see that every day. His father's a Hall of Famer, and to put your son in, and perhaps Eli will be right behind him one day.
That was going to be my question to you all, because we obviously we stemmed from a football show. Is Eli going to be in the Hall of Fame? Has he done enough?
I don't know why he wouldn't be. There's a lot worse in there than Eli. There's a 2-time Super Bowl champ. When the chips were down, I think most of the flack on Eli came because he was Peyton's brother. But in a vacuum, he was a heck of a quarterback. And he won 2 Super Bowls. And I'll even say this, man. Over most quarterbacks that have won multiple Super Bowls, he won it. He did it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I
they
can
had some
agree with
great
that.
defenses, but this guy was clutch when the moment count. And you do it once, it's one thing. You do it twice, you're a Hall of Famer, as far as I'm concerned. So,
yep, I agree.
and the Giants were relevant when he was there, totally irrelevant now he's gone. So,
Gotcha.
Yep,
before
someday.
and after.
Someday
Yeah.
he'll be in there. Yep.
Yeah, without question. Okay, so that's all my sports for today, guys. Real quick, and music. This day in music in 1995, we lost Jerry Garcia, lead guitarist for the band The Grateful Dead. To call them a band is really kind of, wow, really not accurate. They were a following. Some would call them a cult. They were as mysterious as it gets when it comes to as bands are concerned. I didn't get the whole thing. My former singer Tanya in Shadow Play, she dated a guy once who was a deadhead, as they were called, and he got me listening to him. I even bought the album Infrared Roses to try to see what this was all about. And it was intriguing. The whole movement was based around drugs, if you will, psychedelicry, a little bit of Pink Floyd type of stuff. But they were famous for their fans following them all over the country, if not the world. Some people dedicated their lives to following the Grateful Dead. It was, in my opinion, an extension of the 60s hippie movement or hair movement, if you will. Big deals back in our day growing up. Don't hear much about them now. Of course, the band is disbanded, but that was a big, big deal. Fish?
I never got it. I'm with you. I never got it. Never got it. I mean, every Grateful Dead song, I'm just like, should I like this? They're huge. And I'm like, I just don't like it. So don't get it. And of course, I wasn't taking psychedelic drugs when listening to them either. I might like a lot more things. You know what?
I thought maybe that might be it.
Out there listening to this show right now, you do what you want, Perhaps if you have a drink or something, listen to the show, perhaps you might enjoy it more. And we firmly expect a following as equal to the Grateful Dead someday.
I agree.
Someday, but it did.
Now,
so just
they did have the one commercial hit, "I Will Get By," which was a nice song. Made sense. That was the only one.
Even that, I'm like, I don't like it.
Yeah,
I just don't like it. Sorry. They definitely made something of them. Hey, they made a hell of a career.
Yes,
Can't
they
take it away from them.
Yes,
and they never changed their style. They said, "This is what we're doing. You take it or leave it. We're not doing this. This is it. This is what we're going to give you." So you give them credit for that.
And I don't want to be mean, but they weren't known for having the cleanest following. I mean, there was a lot of dirt and mud and hippie, dippy stuff. All right, Skinner.
So I got a story about Grateful Dead.
Oh boy.
Let's go back to, let's see, when did I come back home? 1995. So this would have been May of 1995. There's me, Staff Sergeant Skinner in the Air Force, with his Air Force wife of 23 years old and a baby that isn't quite 2 years old yet, meaning Mike Jr. Been there for 4 years, had never seen the Space Needle, never been up to it. So I'm thinking, well, let's go on a Saturday. Let's go to the Space Needle so I can say at least I went there. So we get up there because I live in Tacoma, which is about 40 minutes south. So we get up there and there's no place to park anywhere around the Space Needle. Mind you, there's a area that's just right next to it that they use occasionally for concerts.
Mm-hmm.
So we park about a half mile away. We put the kid in a stroller, and I'm all clean military. Tracy's wearing her nice sundress. We walk up, and all of a sudden we start going, "What's that smell?" Come to find out, there was a Grateful Dead concert right next to the Space Needle. I kid you not. I had never been around it. I only knew, and I know some of the Grateful Dead songs.
So you heard it here first, folks. Mike Skinner said your whole concert following stinks.
Right. So we're walking along the area behind it, and you've got, and it is a cult. It is a following. I'm not you can't sugarcoat it.
Right.
But they don't They don't bathe for weeks. They don't know what deodorant is. I mean, you literally can feel it and you can smell it getting up
Yeah,
close to it. So
it
it
was
was
certainly an
very
earthy following.
interesting. There's not a lot of times I feel out of place. That's one of those times in my life that I was completely out of place.
Yeah, certainly us growing up as metalheads, that was as far away from our big deal, as you could
Oh
get.
yeah.
Of course, Jerry will live on in perpetuity thanks to Ben and Jerry's famous flavor, which I happen to like, Jerry Garcia. So when when you get an ice cream from Ben and Jerry's, you're somebody, obviously. Interesting note, fellas. Rolling Stone magazine ranked Jerry Garcia as the 13th greatest guitarist of all time out of the greatest 100. I
I
find
could
that
see
very.
that.
Yep.
I could
I
see
can't.
that.
I can't. So anyway,
Still don't get
okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with Fisher. Last thing, this day of music, birthdays today. Whitney Houston. Uh, man, born in 1963. Had not heard a voice with such beauty and power since the great Aretha Franklin when Whitney came on the scene.
Okay.
I liked her when she first came. Her first hit, I Want to Dance with Somebody, it was great. I think an album or two after that, they really started letting her belt them out, with more serious songs, not the little pop ditties. And you saw the amazing, amazing talent and power from, one of my favorite songs, the Lion King duet she did with they tried to make a rivalry out of her and Mariah Carey, which there was no such rivalry. The
no.
duet they did together, if you haven't seen that video, it's called I can't think of the name at the moment, but it is a great song from the movie The Lion King. To see them two belting going back and forth. Loved Whitney, tragic life. A lot of flack for marrying Bobby Brown, who many looked at as this R&B bad boy. I personally couldn't stand him. I thought he was the epitome of ignorance. And a lot of people blame him for ruining her life. I certainly wouldn't make such a claim. I don't know what went on in their personal life, but it certainly seemed like they were what they were called ghetto millionaires. The show Whitney and Bobby didn't help their case any. When you're on a TV show and your husband's sticking his finger up your butt to get you to poop, that's not TV material. So really lost a lot of luster off of her shiny image when she married him. But Whitney, man, gone way too soon. Skinner?
Yeah, I agree with you. When you say they try to compare Whitney Houston with Mariah Carey, there is no comparison. Whitney's voice was so far superior, and
Yes.
there's two performances that stick out to me in her career. One of them, obviously, is the right after I think it was right after 9/11 when she did the Super
Yeah.
Bowl.
Desert
Yeah.
Storm. Desert Storm.
It was
Desert
Desert
Storm,
Storm.
right.
Excuse me. It
Fisher
was
already
Desert
corrected
Storm.
us on that once.
Go back and
But
listen to the show.
yeah, right. But the Desert Storm
Hey,
performance
try
when she
watching the show
sung
sometimes, Skinner.
right when she sung Star Spangled Banner, if anybody didn't have chills up their spine, they were
Have you
dead.
ever heard it sang so beautiful and clear? It's just
No,
wow.
no. And then there's another one. She was in the movie called The Bodyguard with Kevin Costner.
Yes.
I thought
Just watched it the other night.
she was absolutely spectacular as an actress and as a singer in that movie as well. So when I think of Whitney Houston, yeah, I think Bobby Brown was a bad influence on her. Again, we weren't there, so we can't really pass judgment.
Mm-hmm.
But she had such a squeaky clean image. At least that's what we had
But
seen.
it wasn't a true image. I mean, she had
Right.
serious drug problems.
She had issues of
And
her
maybe it
own.
became because of Bobby, because she was raised in the church.
Right.
Her mother, we grew up listening to the great Sissy Houston, and of course her aunt Dionne Warwick.
Right.
So maybe all this stuff came because she got into the music business. The great Clyde Davis discovered her. And of course, again, with Bobby Brown didn't help, but she had a lot of drug issues and things going on too.
So, yeah, rest in peace, Whitney. Your voice is certainly missed. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, good
I
person.
just watched The Bodyguard the other night again. for I don't know how many time, but I hadn't seen it in a while. One of my favorite movie soundtracks of all time. That's not metal. Some great stuff on there from her and In Vogue and others. And I thought the story in itself was just a great original story. When I watch the story, you see so much regurgitated stuff. I thought this was a great original story. And that's why I like the movie so much. And she was great in it. Kevin Costner, who normally annoys me, I liked his role in that movie as well. But she's going to be missed. Fish?
Yeah, you guys kind of said it all. Just a real tragedy. Definitely one of the greatest artists in certainly our lifetime or our generation, if not our lifetime. So, and I agree with Skinner's performances that he mentioned as well. So
yeah, how do I?
That national anthem at the Super Bowl was like it was not barely a dry eye in the stands when they panned around. So that was pretty powerful. Not many artists get a moment like that.
No.
In their entire career, and she certainly had that one there, which kind of helped, like it was bringing the country together during a very traumatic time. So yeah, it's a real shame, but at least we have her recordings that she'll live on and go back and listen to her and enjoy.
Kudos to whoever selected her for that moment, because it was such an important moment. You had to have the right artist. Certainly, Jerry Garcia would not have been the right person. She was the right person at the right time. When I think about that moment, I think about that sense of country that we had. And she just kind of enveloped it all in that performance right there, man. And I said, man, I wish we could feel like this all the time as Americans, you know? We had it when the beginning of the week of when the tragedies of 9/11 happened. And then, of course, everybody goes back to their own factions. Well, I'm black. Well, I'm white. Well, I'm liberal. I'm conservative. I'm, all this stupid stuff that divide us. So it was a great moment. Bless you, Whitney. So that's all I got today, guys. Music and sports. So Fisher, a little pop culture.
You sure that's all you got?
Pretty sure that's all I got.
Okay.
Why? You missing something?
No, I'm just looking at the time. That's all.
Oh, you're being sarcastic. Hey, you want to tell me to go?
Music stuff here a little bit. So unfortunately, we had a couple passings of note from our generation. On Saturday, Dennis D.T. Thomas, who was a co-founder of the group Kool the Gang, passed away in his sleep, 70 years of age. So I don't remember how many members of Kool the Gang have since passed on. I think it's at least the second one. I'm not sure, but Kool the Gang definitely one of the very popular bands in our generation growing up in the 80s. Certainly had a big hits in the 70s as well. And I would venture to guess in the 80s, if you went to a high school dance in the early to mid 80s, you probably danced to several songs from Kool the Gang, from not only the dance music, but certainly the slow dances with Cherish the Love and all that. So great sound, a lot of fun. And he's wearing a band, no depressing lyrics and things. It's love and happiness and fun.
Yes.
It's still one of my favorite bands of the 80s and probably all around even today. So rest in peace, D.T. Thomas. Keith, Kool the Gang, D.T. Thomas. Hey, what's your thoughts on
what can you say? Hit after hit after hit. They were like America's dance band. You heard them everywhere. They had some of the most iconic dance songs ever. So I don't know what else you can say about them. This was one of the greatest groups, in my opinion, ever. I know a lot of people thought, I forget his name, the lead singer was cool, but he wasn't. Robert Kool Bell was actually who the band was named after. So just a great band, man. I don't. One of the greatest and definitely most underrated. I hope they're in the Hall of Fame. I don't know, but they should be.
Yeah. Skinner, Kool the Gang.
Oh yeah, big huge fan. I think of Kool the Gang. I remember the one performance. I think it might have been on American Bandstand. They had their blue long sleeve coat outfits with the with the bell bottoms, just having fun up on stage. And you're right. Nobody that grew up in the 80s went to a dance and didn't dance to a Kool the Gang song. It just, they were just one of a kind. And whether you're a metalhead like us, or you're a pop fan, or an R&B fan, or a Motown. I'm a huge Motown fan, so they were right up my alley all along.
And guys, we should remember playing Celebration in band.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was one of the songs.
Marching band. Absolutely.
But yeah, big, huge
Absolutely.
fan. It's sad to see that we're at the age where a lot of these people we grew up listening to, idolizing, are all passing on. And
such is life. Yeah.
It is.
It does not appear Kool the Gang's in the Rock Hall, so that definitely needs to change.
That's terrible.
I don't understand why some of the bands get in there and makes no
sense.
Crazy. So that's crazy. Okay, we also lost actress Markie Post, also 70 years of age, also passed on Saturday. She unfortunately had years-long battle with cancer, which I was not aware of. In our generation, we remember her certainly from, she had appearances in Cheers and Scrubs, but she was best known on Night Court, where she had a recurring role opposite to Harry Anderson as Judge Harry T. Stone. She also made appearances, or she actually was a regular cast member on The Fall Guy, which is why I'm wearing my Fall Guy retro shirt here this evening.
Awesome, man.
Yes, absolutely. So just a good actress, definitely, had some memorable roles on television. So we will miss Markie Post. And so all this stuff with Jeopardy, right? So we know that we had several guest hosts come on Jeopardy. And the biggest one recently was LeVar Burton. A huge petition, social media gave him his chance to host. And after all of this, they're announcing that it appears that executive producer Mike Richards is in advanced negotiations to host the show. And one of the things also making the news is he apparently has some prior harassment and discrimination lawsuits have resurfaced. So a lot of people upset that, first of all, you got an executive producer of the show, and now he has sort of a dicey past, which, okay, people make mistakes. Who knows what's going on with these, but still, you're not hearing those things probably about LeVar Burton, some others, others, many others that hosted the show and did a fine job. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on this dude hosting Jeopardy? Does it feel like an inside track? Does it feel like privilege? And I, of course, would be curious now too with these, these prior, it's not even allegations, but it's prior lawsuits that come up, if he'll be able to retain it, or if the other producers would be like, we got to steer clear here and do something different. So I don't know. I don't like it. It doesn't smell and feel very good to me. I think they should give it to somebody else, but that's my thoughts. So Keith, what do you think about?
Okay. First of all, just real quick, I want to say about Markie Post. She's one of those people I consider a sitcom traveler. She wasn't a household name, but she was just great at what she did. She fit in your average good sitcoms. She was pleasant. She's just one of those people you always see turn up, every few years in a sitcom, and she was great. Really enjoyed Markie. But anyway,
thank you.
Something's rotten in the state of Denmark. This is terrible. Now, you're right. Certainly, he shouldn't be ostracized because he made past mistakes. But this is Jeopardy. One of the strengths of Jeopardy was the class act that hosted the show for decades by the names of Alex Trebek. And I think to continue to maintain that strength, you need to pass it on to another class act, somebody beyond reproach. Certainly, you mentioned LeVar Burton, who's been nothing but class in his career, and our generation is very comfortable with him because they were raised with him from Sesame Street and Reading Rainbow and all these other things. So there's a great connection there too with Gen Xers. So very disappointing in the show. Even Mayim Bialik would have been a great for Big Bang Theory. So this is terrible. The host of this show is a very important decision, and to give it to him, I think, is a travesty. Shame on them. Skinner?
Yeah, just do something different.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah.
To me, I
Skinner,
think
what
it's
do you
just a
think?
bridge until Aaron Rodgers retires from football.
Okay, there's a point.
You know, I think that's what this is all about.
So you
LeVar
think there's
Burton,
something else going on behind the scenes?
I think so. I don't think they wanted to give a long-term contract because, truthfully, I think they're waiting for him.
Interesting
Wouldn't
point.
surprise me
Okay.
in the least bit, but
Okay.
yeah, something doesn't smell right, like you said.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then, see, last I'm looking at the time. Okay, we got about 10 minutes for Skinner, but just real quick here. The Suicide Squad it was released and streaming in theaters last week. It's streaming on HBO Max with your regular subscription. It actually had a very nice opening. So in the month of August, it's already second in box office earnings behind, what was the first one here? I think not F9. Doesn't matter. I'll look that up. I was looking at it. Anyway, so it's had a very good box office. James Gunn directed it, who also directed the Guardians of the Galaxy movies for Marvel, which most of us certainly have seen those movies. A whole different feel and fun of a superhero movie with the comedy and the music blend and all that stuff. For me personally,
great musical soundtrack. Sorry.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So for me, this movie was probably the most fun I've had watching any DC movie since Shazam, in my opinion, which was different and fun. Certainly had more fun watching this Suicide Squad than the Justice League, than Batman vs. Superman, than Wonder Woman 84. First Wonder Woman, okay, but definitely one of the most fun DC movies I've seen in some time. So they would probably definitely try to bring this guy back in to do more stuff. Just great. Idris Elba was fantastic in this movie as sort of the lead character of Bloodsport. John Cena was terrific as a rival, I thought. Margot Robbie. The cast was great. It was fun. It's violent. It's not for kids. Definitely an adult movie.
Oh my gosh!
But I had a great time with it. So highly recommended, in my opinion. If you're looking just for a fun, ultra violent, crazy, superheroist type movie, they could do a lot more with this franchise and keep bringing in all these other fun villains and have a lot of. It could easily make several more sequels, in my opinion. So, Keith, you saw it. What do you think of the Suicide Squad?
Okay, well, we certainly disagree on Shazam, but I'm going to give that a second chance. We disagree on Batman versus Superman and Justice League, which I enjoyed thoroughly, especially Batman versus Superman. But I got to tell you, I have not watched a movie, especially a superhero movie, in a long time where I kept going, oh my gosh. Some of the things in this movie was just like, you got to be freaking kidding me, man. I had so much fun with this freaking movie. It was just nuts. I thought John Cena was great. I love Idris Elba, big fan of his. And of course, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. She was made for that role. That is one cold-hearted chick, man. She will eat your young. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very good.
And a lot of things that people don't know. King Shark was played by Sylvester Stallone.
That's right. I just saw that today. I'm like, and I can hear it. I can totally hear it now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was just so much fun. It is not for the squeamish. Some of
So I should be careful letting
Serenity.
She's a huge Harley Quinn fan, so I should probably be careful letting her watch those.
Yeah. I would. Some of the stuff in here, man. I mean, King Shark was. It's like, wow. And if you don't like rats, don't watch the movie. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But it was something. I enjoyed this movie thoroughly.
Yeah. Top-rated movie, by the way, was Jungle Cruise, Keith. So,
yes.
Skinner, have you seen Suicide Squad yet? Sorry, don't come back to you, Keith. I apologize.
No,
Skinner,
I have not. That's a movie we're going to watch this week. I'll talk about it again next week a little bit.
Okay, now Keith, you watched Jungle Cruise. It is a top-rated movie. What did you think? I haven't seen it.
You and I agreed that this seemed like something we wouldn't waste time with. But I said I'm going to give it a shot and see what it's all about. And I had a blast. I think you will thoroughly enjoy this movie.
Okay.
Unbelievable effects. Great story. And certainly a twist you don't see coming halfway through the movie and on to the end. This was a well put together movie, man. It was borderline a superhero movie, in a lot of ways. But this was fun, in my opinion. I thought the effects were outstanding and a great storyline. I was really well surprised.
Okay, I will go. I will give it a shot when I have the opportunity. Very good.
Okay, you can come back and let us know.
Absolutely. That's what I got, Skinner. We got about 8-10 minutes for world news, sir. What do you got for us?
I thought we were just about up against it.
No, we're doing good, bud.
All right. Well, like I told you guys in pre show here, not much going on other than COVID and Olympics, and I know I said that to start out last week. And you kind of touched on the one story that we saw, the 423 confirmed cases as of Saturday down at the Olympic Village. So that's an eye opener, a head scratcher, and let's hope that those were quarantined and it doesn't go out to their respective countries and pass it on from there. But to them and their families, hope that they get well soon. And with that, I'm going to move on to a story here in, I don't want to say our backyard, but in Lima, Ohio. It has to do with cell phones. There is the story reads, cell phone data reliability at the heart of a hearing for an arson case. There's two gentlemen, one of them being 64 years old, his last name Messer, and a co-defendant, Jason Raines, 51. Were indicted in October 2020 on one count of aggravated arson and a second-degree felony for allegedly starting a fire at a South Dixie Highway residence. Now, the thing that gets me is the heart of this case is based on a cell phone information where they're trying to ping what towers that the cell phones were pinging at the time of the arson. Both these gentlemen were having a conversation about or one-upping each other, and they were both in the area of this arson. So they have a feeling that one of these two, or both of them, had something to do with a gentleman who was a current boyfriend of an ex of them two. So it was very interesting that the cell phone data is being used in courts. Now, that leads me to all this other stuff that you've got monitoring. They say the government's monitoring you from the phones, and everybody knows what you're doing. They can get into your cell phone cameras, and they can see what you're doing, where you're at. And, of course, just the tracking alone with all the devices of where am I now, the app, the Life 360 app my family uses, so we know where the kids are at all times and things of that nature. But when you're talking about something just in your living room, nobody's on their phones, and then you, for instance, get on Facebook. Not that I'm throwing a plug to Facebook, but you get on Facebook and an ad pops up about something completely out of the blue, at least it's supposed to be, but you had a conversation about it within the last 10 or 15 minutes. So I wanted your guys' thoughts on how cell phones, obviously they've changed the world, they've changed technology, they've changed the way kids are growing up today compared to how we grew up. We had our phone was attached to a wall with a cord that you stretched it as far as you possibly could to go around the corner so your parents didn't hear you talking on the phone.
Close the door and get away from your brother and sister.
Yeah. So I'm just curious on your guys' thoughts on what they're doing with cell phones today.
Well, I'll say this. I have resided to the fact that, listen, if you don't think your government's spying on you, you're crazy.
You're living under a rock.
You made a point about the ads, especially if you go, say, on Google and look up something, and you might think about buying it. The next thing you know, you go on Facebook and there's an ad for it all of a sudden. Yeah, it could be an algorithm. Who knows? But at the same time, still, these things are known about you. I've said all along, Facebook in itself, listen, all it is an FBI file for free. These are things the FBI used to have to get a warrant to find out about you. And now we're just giving it away for free. This is my political affiliation. This is my religion. This is who I hang with. These are who my friends are. This is who I'm dating. All this information we give out for free. So it's all out there for the taking. I have just resided to the fact, listen, it sucks, but if you got nothing to hide, what else can you do about it? But it's really, really, really sad.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It's like if you have a device like this, you're foolish not to think that it can't be tracked. I also agree with what you said. I'm not doing anything. You can spy on me all you want. You're not going to find anything with me. I'm not doing anything illegal. All right. So then the other side of it is you hope that people aren't accused for something. I guess there's always a possibility for that anyway. But you hope that somebody doesn't go to jail incorrectly because this data is wrong or something to that effect.
And I don't want to say that I'm just throwing my rights away either. That's not what I'm saying. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I get what you're saying there. So, anyway, I mean, you can't stop it. It's going to be here. You're going to have more cases to where, someone... they'll demand their cell phone to be handed over. There was already some cases around that, and people didn't want to do it. And Apple said, no, we're not going to give you the data and stuff like that. So
remember that.
More stuff like that, I'm sure. But you know what? At the end of the day, if these guys were in the area, if this can pinpoint, solve a couple crimes, if the right people go to jail, then and less people get hurt, then for me, hey, it's a good thing in that respect.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to work on a story for next week, kind of give you a teaser for next week. There's a lot going on in Afghanistan. I don't know if you guys have heard that the Taliban is starting to make noise again.
Just read it.
Yep. I'm trying to keep that particular bad news out of our show because we're trying to stay informative, but I want to stay informative as well. And I want to talk a little bit about the first Gulf War and how that impacted us as kids. I know it impacted me personally because I went into the military right after the ceasefire from the first Gulf War. So I'm going to work on that. I've got newspapers from the Akron Beacon Journal from the time that they declared war all the way up until ceasefire. I still have all those newspapers, the headlines from the Akron Beacon Journal. And I'll show you guys a couple of them for the video portion of our show for next week. I'd like to get your guys' thoughts as non-military folks on what you saw over the years, and I can give you a little bit of perspective from my side as well.
Okay. And just a prelude to that story you're going to do, as of today, the Taliban has seized 5 provinces so far.
Right.
So that's growing in number. So we'll see where that is next week.
All this while the U.S. is trying to exit the country.
Yep. All right.
Gee, that's a coincidence.
Right. So, all right, guys, great show. Porter, you came to the plate with a lot of great stuff today. Enjoyed your stories.
Thank
you as well. Boys, as always, love the time I spent with you brothers, and can't wait to see what we have ahead for us in the future here. So for Mike Skinner, Keith Porter, and Brian Fisher, we are the fellows from It Came From GenX. We bid you farewell, and we will hopefully see you next week.
I'll see you boys at Luau.
Yes, sir.
Luau Saturday.
Have a great week, folks.
Take care, everybody.
And cut.